Kattar and Arnold Allen going again because we just recorded it, but the mic wasn't on, so that was 40 minutes ago down the drain. But it's cool. We were running back. We got in the main event, unfortunate ending. Calvin Kattar seemed to be having some pretty bad luck as of late. And then, I hate to say it though, Arnold looked amazing. But what makes it so compelling is we kind of figured that Arnold would do good in the beginning, being a hungry young fighter, and that the experience of Calvin would take over, you know, after that initial burst of energy.
But we never got to see that. We never got to see Arnold Allen in the third and the fourth and fifth round.
And like you were saying last time, we had some unfortunate endings to fights, and it's only been 2 or 3 of them. It was this one.
No, it was
Tom Aspinall,
Anthony Smith.
But no, that wasn't as highly anticipated. That for you personally, yeah. But for the world,
yeah, I wanted Magomed to lose that fight.
Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades, and then Yair and Brian Ortega. So it's like with those 2 fights and this fight, these are 3 video game fights. These are the fights where what's going to happen. They were very exciting once they were announced, and it's just like you don't even know who to pick.
And this is unfortunate, but it happened in the right weight class too, man, because the featherweight division is not looking good too. It's not looking too good right now. If it would have happened in the bantamweight division, it would have been like, oh God. But then we did. Didn't TJ get injured? So it's like, what? Well, he came to the fight injured, so that's a little bit different.
But the thing is, with Max holding up the division, trying to get 3 fights in a row, and people clamoring that he should have won this and that, and just for you to get 3-0.
The whole featherweight division is
looking kind of bad right now.
Yeah, it's at a hole right now, man.
But what if
especially when Volkanovski go up in lightweight?
And what if he win? It make it look like it's pointless for them to even have an interim title.
What if he lose? Can't nobody in the featherweight division beat him? Maybe it's up Yair. So it's like,
and he
win or lose.
He damn near fight once a year. Dang near can barely fight once a year.
And then he get injured. Brian Ortega got injured and they fight.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like, man, like.
So now the fight to make would be Arnold versus Josh Emmett, or Arnold versus Yair, or Max versus Arnold, or Max versus Emmett. I'm just saying, it's 4 fighters: Yair, Josh Emmett, Arnold Allen, and Max. I don't want to see Max and Yair go at it again. I'm tired of the rematches. Do something else.
I don't think a lot of people really are excited about watching Max fight, if I'm gonna just be honest with you. It's unfortunate, man. He might have to go up to lightweight division, but I don't think nobody wants to see him fight at featherweight.
Yeah, I think some of the...
Especially you get 3-0 by somebody, man, by the champion. It's like, and then he cleaned out the division, and he moved up to another division. So it's like, man, who wants to see Max fight right now?
Yeah, so, but I definitely want to see Yair fight, though. I've been calling for that. But so, Arnold has a lot of different ways he can go, man. Calvin got a rehab, man. And this was a short notice fight. That's the crazy part. This was a short notice. Like, they threw this together, like, just a few weeks ago. And then you took a fight on short notice, being a fighter, and then you get injured. And it's like, I'm sure the UFC will take care of him and everything for stepping up and doing it and carrying the card. But it was a lot of promotion for it.
I hate when fights end like this, because we're going to have Calvin saying, okay, I was going to capitalize on him slowing down. And then you have Arnold saying, okay, I was going to slow down and I was winning. When fights end like this, it's always questions, man. And both fighters going to be saying, yeah, I was going to do this. So that's the only issue with it.
Then we got Max, Griffin, and Tim Means. Max outstruck him. Max dropped him once or twice. He out-wrestled him. Tim is very tough, stayed in it. For me, it does nothing for Max's stock, because you beat Tim Means. I think it should have been unanimous, not split decision. But at the same time, I feel like Max needed a finish here. But Tim is just too tough to just put away like that. But that was the only thing, like you said, that was going to separate Max from the rest of the division. So it's like,
I mean, even Tim, he's a little bit susceptible on the ground. But Max don't have the style to submit Tim. There was no way he's going to knock out Tim Means.
And it didn't move the needle for either person. And fun fact, out of Max's 9 losses, y'all wouldn't believe that 5 of them come by split decision. That's why I like Max. I like his personality and everything. But when it comes to fighting, it can be very frustrating, because he does just enough to where his opponent can stay in it and make a case to say that they won. And it's hard for me to pick you when you fight like that. Does that make sense? I know that you have those tendencies, but again, he's in there and I'm not. So,
but against Santiago Ponzinibbio, yeah, you can't fight him like that, man.
The Li Jingliangs and stuff, it's man, disaster waiting to happen. Then we got Waldo, Cortes-Acosta, and Jared Vanderaa. Of course, you know, it could have been Pinocchio versus Jared Vanderaa, and we probably still would have been
the It Clown over Jared, man.
Yeah, it probably still would have been, the green would have been on this side.
And the fun thing is, he had success. Like when he was throwing his right hand,
38 leg kicks.
So I'm saying, but whenever he's throwing hands, he was kind of catching Waldo off guard. It just, one issue I have with Jared is he don't take chances a lot.
He's
and
12 and 10.
Conservative. So he's 12 and 10.
He's 12 and 10 now.
Oh my God.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just looked down and saw that and I'm like,
so what is that, 5 in a row?
But that's 6 in a row, almost 7.
And then you beating Harry Hunsucker and Tony Lopez. Them wins really don't hold a lot of weight either. The only person he really beat was Justin Toffin.
Yeah, Justin probably on the win streak now, huh? So that, I mean, he doing great, but
he beat Harry Hunsucker, man. So
well, I guess Harry Hunsucker is the guy to beat if you ever want to, stick around.
An easy W.
Yeah. So, but Waldo, like we were saying in the first video, he come from a baseball background. That's why he punched like that. Like his technique is actually pretty good. To say that he don't come from a fighting background, he come from a baseball. But when he throw his hooks, he's not precise. Like he's not landing, and that was my problem in the prediction. Remember, I said he throw a lot of punches, but they don't seem to be landing. And sometimes when they do land, it's because the opponents really just ain't good enough to move out of the way. But Jared is the bottom of the caliber of UFC fighters, and he was able to avoid the big shots from Waldo.
Yeah, I would like to see Waldo tighten up his right hand a lot.
What camp do you think he need to go to get them hands tight? Like, I would say he need to go somewhere where they train heavyweights, like
AKA or American Top Team. American Top Team got heavyweights.
Yeah,
but Greg Jackson got heavyweights.
I don't like to send people to Greg Jackson these days. Send them somewhere where they got hands and they really gonna.
It's weird because he has fundamentals in certain areas, but other areas he don't.
Like he didn't even know how to check the leg kicks. That was crazy. He ate 38 leg kicks.
But he got the fundamentals that matter other than leg kicks, man. Because if he was fighting anybody else, it would have been more of a decisive win.
And he got the fundamentals to where you can build off of that. You're not getting knocked out. You know what I mean? Some people, the lack of fundamentals leads to them getting knocked out, finished, all the different things. He got enough going for him to where he can build on. He just needs the right camp and the right training partners and the right coaches, most importantly. But I'm gonna tell you one thing that's special about him is his trash talking. His trash talking and his excitement at every point in the fight where he got mad and wanted to do something, the crowd erupted.
Yeah, but he threw like 5 punches at one time and he missed all 5 of them. It was like,
but that's why he needs that camp, because he got some things that you can't teach though. But then the stuff that he don't have, you can teach. How many people have we been trying to get to throw a good punch?
I think he fights like he's somebody who has one punch knockout power. Like he fights like he's that
Francis.
guy.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, you're not Derek Lewis.
Every heavyweight don't have one punch knockout power.
But it's good because I've never seen a heavyweight fighter like him with his skill set and stuff, man. The way he fights, he's a unique fighter with his skill set. I mean, you have the Cyril Gans, but other than that, I don't see an athlete who is that athletic, who moves the way he do, and has his fundamentals.
It's funny because speaking of Cyril Gans, Cyril is big and moves around. It's the opposite. He throws very few strikes, but he lands the majority of them. Even if from light to heavy, Cyril Gans throwing 85, 90% of his strikes is light jabs and kicks and stuff. His strikes landed percentage is like crazy. I think that he got more power than he has, Waldo, but then he's like misses a bunch of punches. But he got things he can clean up, so the future is bright for him. Speaking of a bright future, oh man, Tresean Gore with a second round guillotine, maybe even a contender for a submission of the year. I have never seen nothing like that before.
He needed this win more than anybody who fought him.
And he also got $50,000 bonus, and I know he could have used that one. So shouts out to Tresean Gore, man. Like I said, my mind said Josh would win, but my heart wanted Tresean to win, and he was able to pull it off, man.
But the thing is, Josh, he's cerebral, so would Tresean, will that approach work against somebody like Dricus Duplessis or somebody
I think he's too far up.
Okay, what's the guy named
Bruno? Yeah, he's too far up too. These people got a lot of fights in the UFC that you.
What about Joseph Pfeiffer?
Joseph, they would eat him alive. Just because they don't sit back and think too much, they just do it. You know what I mean? He just got to the point where he was able to finally get one. I don't want him biting out too much more than he can chew. Get another W and another W and another W and just work your way up. Now this is where I don't have a problem with fighters working their way up gradually in competition. Now take a favorable fight, take a favorable matchup and get that one. Somebody you can just beat down on and just, again, get more confidence. Because we've seen other people do it. Why you can't do it?
Yeah, give him Rodolfo or somebody can beat.
I don't know, man. Rodolfo is kind of, he grab you. That's a tough one.
But will they work against Tresean though?
I don't know. It depends on which Rodolfo shows up. That's why that's too much experience.
But it'd be interesting, bro. Wouldn't it be crazy if Tresean go like on a 4 or 5 or 6 fight win streak?
That's what I'm hoping, but it got to be smart fight. You can't play the I'll fight anybody ever. No, good matchups.
And this right here was a really, I'm not gonna say easy.
No, I thought this was a dangerous.
No, but Josh don't have a win in the UFC. It gets worse from here. Josh is dangerous, but Josh, I know he fought 2 people who were good, but he technically don't have 1 win in the UFC.
And you got to look at the people that they have common opponents in. Tresean Gore, take favorable matchups, man. It's about confidence. Once you start winning, you start feeling like you can win.
This was the favorable matchup, bro, because Josh.
I don't think it was.
But Josh trains with Cody now.
I thought it was a terrible matchup.
Because Cody came up with Josh. I was like, hold on, Cody beat Tresean.
I thought it was a terrible matchup, but Tresean
got Tresean up.
The job done. So W.
I think that's what he wished he should have did against Cody. Been more aggressive, like with takedowns and stuff.
Because the funny part is he was actually winning that fight. That's the crazy part. He almost knocked out Brian, and then he was winning Cody joint until he got beat. So I was like, sheesh. But this is a good one, man. So many people getting injured, man. He might be able to take a little fight before the end of the year and get another little check.
And it's not the worst thing because Cody is a good fighter, and we seen what Brian doing now. So he's like people out at welterweight. So it ain't the worst thing, especially who he lost to. Sometimes you gotta look at who the person lost to.
But you just gotta make sure that you're winning too. You want to put those losses as far behind as possible. That's the goal now, is to put those losses 4 or 5 fights behind you. Hey, I wouldn't be mad. Get a decision.
I thought this is what he was doing though.
Hey, get a decision. Get 2 or 3 decisions.
And he was on his way to doing that.
Yeah, get the experience. Just get in there and know how to get the job done. Then speaking of decisions, bad one. And look, we are some big Khalil fans, man. I've been following Khalil whole career, and man, I gotta be honest, man, this was a bad decision. This is not like the Sean and Piotr fight because there was no ground game. So
Dustin landed 120 significant strikes, and Khalil landed 85, and there wasn't no takedowns, you know. So you can't compare it to striking versus wrestling.
And Khalil had more damage. But the thing is, Dustin had damage as well. Like, it took Dustin more volume to get the damage that Khalil was doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, what Khalil could do in one punch, Dustin might have to do 2 or 3 combos to get it. But I feel like they was damaging each other equally. It just take less. But the volume, the control, and also everything else was for Dustin.
And the biggest thing for me is Dustin was visibly frustrating Khalil.
Yes.
Because after the first round, Khalil was like, man, what am I going to do, man?
And Khalil clearly slowed down, and he clearly was lost. After the first round, he was a little bit lost, and his game plan didn't seem to be working at all.
You know what's weird? I've seen Dustin in fights that were closer than this.
And they gave
it to him. And this is just but I think it's Dustin's style.
I just don't understand it. My only thing that I could say is the judges were there, and maybe the Khalil punches were landing a little bit harder live than we could see on TV. That's my only thing is some of those punches were definitely hitting.
But you get outstruck by 40.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only argument I can see is that live, maybe those punches were really landing a little differently than we could see on TV. But like I said, it may have taken Dustin more to get to that same amount of damage. But his volume and damage, he had more volume. He had the same amount of damage that he dished out, that he took. And he controlled the fight. And he disrupted Khalil's game plan. And Khalil couldn't mount any significant offense and chain it together. He might have, every minute, he may have landed something, every 2 minutes. But he couldn't chain together anything significant and consistent.
You want to tell you why he lost his fight, man?
Because he played the point.
I'm going to tell you why. You might laugh and disagree, man, but I just thought about this. Dustin's style is too similar to Israel, and you already got Israel in there. Just think about Dustin as a kickboxer.
But this is light heavyweight.
Not say his style. You don't want 2 guys in top 10 and top 5, man.
But but Izzy is a middleweight, and this is light heavyweight.
Like, you know how you already got Colby Covington. You know how Mark Madsen is? He kind of fight like Colby. Say, if you're trying to find a new star, they're not going to promote Mark Madsen because you got Colby, even though they're in 2 different weight classes.
But Khalil makes it more exciting.
I know.
I hate to say that, but Dustin,
he never talks, man.
And Dustin, man, I hate to say this, but winning fights, he won that last one by knockout, but the other ones, don't nobody remember him. And you got stand-up fight, and they're not even bad. It's just, I don't know, man.
You know what it is, dude?
But that don't mean you should lose a fight you won, though, because you earned that fight regardless.
You want to tell what it is? Light heavyweights and heavyweights. Like, you expect knockouts.
Yeah.
Because, like, those fights, they have a high chance of ending by knockout. Like, in bantamweight division, most bantamweight fights don't end in knockout, man. They end in decision. But light heavyweights and heavyweights, bro, like, that's why Vanderaa, that's probably why he out the UFC. Like, you know, you had the Anthony Johnsons. You got guys, even Anthony Smith knocks them out. Jamal Hill. But they're not promoting Jamal Hill either, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is, well.
I hope they put Khalil on the game, though, on the UFC game.
It's so funny they don't have certain people on the game. Yair's not on the game. Khalil's not on the game. Who's the other person? Jamal Hill is not on the game. I'm like, how are these people not on the game, but you put Bo Nichols on the game?
Yeah.
Well, and a 17-year-old kid who won the decision.
Not just Bo Nichols, but they got guys who fought in the UFC 7-8 years ago. And it's like, you look at him, it's like, hold on, I forgot he fought 10 years ago. You ain't got Khalil and Jamal Hill.
It's just odd, man. I just don't understand it. And then you got Jamal Hill headlining cards. You just gave Khalil a win, so I'm imagining, look, this fight was kind of up there, man. This was on the main card, so at this point, he'll probably be a co-main event or something next time. How are you not putting these people on the game? I just don't understand.
He gonna fight Johnny Walker, bro, because you remember Johnny beat him?
Yeah.
That's the fight to make right there.
I think we discussed that, too, and we said there was a possibility. But now we got a super crazy outcome. Roman Dolidze knocks out Phil Hawes after Phil Hawes' corner should have called that fight off, or the referee. And Roman tried to walk away, and the referee said, keep fighting. And then, obviously, Phil can't move, and then all of a sudden, he get knocked out cold.
Okay, you know how, like, when Tyron Woodley, when he did the leg kick to Carlos, and he got injured, sometimes you don't know if the knee injured or not. Maybe he just hurt the knee, not injured it, you know? But I'm saying, the way Roman had his knee, it was hyperextended.
That was different.
You remember when I saw it live?
No, it wasn't.
When I saw it live, I was like, his knee is messed up.
It wasn't even that it was hyperextended. It's the fact that sometimes people go for the leg lock, and and the person who's in the leg lock or whatever, they'll be sitting like on their butt, right?
Yeah.
And the other person will be on top of that one leg holding it, but that person, their leg will be extended. Now you can twist, you can go for the left or to the right before it gets to that point, and you can kind of be at like a 90 to a 60 or 30 degree angle, and so you're kind of safe. The messed up thing about this was that his leg was extended. It was more than 90 degrees, but it wasn't straight. It was to the side. Your knee is not made for your legs to go to the left or to the right. You see what I'm saying? It's front and backwards, with a little bit of give left to right to move laterally. His leg was going to his right, but it was kind of almost extended. It's just crazy, man. That's just...
The only thing is, I hate to say this, man, but why was you taking Roman down? You know, and another thing is he was losing too, because Roman was landing them elbows. Nobody talks about this.
Yeah, Roman
was landing them elbows from the bottom. He was winning though, bro. So like, it looked like, bro, the way the fight was going, it looked like Phil was gonna lose the decision
or lose some kind of way anyway.
Yeah, bro, because he typically slows down as the fight goes on. So if Phil lose the first round and the second round, and say he keep on taking Roman down, Roman was steady elbow in from the bottom, you got to get a win to Roman.
Roman was probably winning technically leading up to that point, but the way they was judging last night, Humpty Dumpty probably was gonna get the decision. And he wasn't even in the fight.
Like somebody in the crowd was going to win the decision.
So I ain't no telling what was going on. Phil, man, you talk about a string of bad luck. I'm sorry, man. It's just like lapses in judgment, man.
I don't want to say luck, man, because we talking about sports. Okay, Calvin, that was unlucky what happened to him. But he makes...
questionable decisions.
Phil makes questionable decisions, man. There's have you scratching your head. It's like, why would you do that? There was no way that Phil should not have been on the inside and the clinch throwing elbows to Roman. That fight should not have hit the ground unless Roman hit the ground. But you know what happened though? I hate to say this, man, but sometimes fighters, if they can't beat a guy, especially somebody who gets stronger as the fight goes on, maybe it's like, well, I can't beat him, I might as well. But then he got injured, so I'm not gonna say he was looking for a way out too, man.
Because I feel like the fight was really gonna start when they stood up. I feel like that was okay. Both of y'all had y'all moment.
I felt like he was gonna look for a way out anyway, man, because
it kind of seemed
you got somebody, man,
he couldn't get his rhythm.
Yeah, and then it's like Roman gets stronger. He's just gonna get worse in the second, third.
That's
round.
what I said on the prediction. So, but
I hate to see him get knocked out the way he did, and he stood back up. And it's like somebody should stop the fight.
Somebody that knocked out.
Why are there doctors there? Why you got 100 doctors and all these medical workers, but nobody's like, man, this is just crazy.
And then why did your corner not stop? Then the referee saw his leg.
You know, it was odd because during the Calvin fight, we heard his leg the first time. The doctor came. Remember, he looked at it. Oh, it's interesting. You looked at Calvin's leg after the first round, but you didn't look at.
Well, that's because Phil had already hurt his knee, so it was a precedent. So they were trying to do the right thing at that point. But it's like the fight should have been stopped with the moment he literally put his hands up and then grabbed his knee and was falling back, because he could have got knocked out right then. Truth be told,
I think a fighter, if they break their hand or their shoulder, they might can fight through that. The shoulder is questionable,
but that knee.
But the knee is like, how you gonna stand up? Man?
Especially with Phil, he's an explosive fighter. Any chance he had of winning the fight was based on catching Roman with the hands.
But then he only can fight going forward too, so he was kind of on his back, and it was bad. The recipe for disaster. But one thing I'm gonna say, it make you appreciate guys like Robbie's Hart, who went 5 rounds with RDA with a blown knee. Tiago went 5 rounds with John Jones. Francis went 5 rounds with Cyril Gane. It make you think, dang, they went 5 rounds.
That's crazy.
So I mean,
against super dangerous people too. And then something that didn't go 5 rounds, but it had somebody super dangerous.
5 seconds.
Marcos Rogério de Lima and Andrei Arlovski. I told y'all it was gonna happen. It's time for Marcos to win a fight he's supposed to lose. It's time for Andrei to lose a fight he's supposed to win.
It looked like when Andrei woke up this morning, it looked like he knew he was going to lose that fight.
Yeah, it was just too much power. That was a slight headbutt at the beginning in an exchange. But if you notice, dude, Andrei was on a win streak. But if you notice a bunch of...
Jake Collier and some Chase Sherman.
Yeah, but he was winning, though. But the last few losses he had, he lost in the same position. You remember Tom Aspinall kind of got him right there against the cage. So I'm like, is that a thing that they're just doing to Andrei now if we can get him up against the cage?
I don't think Andrei want to go to the ground, man.
That's so odd,
especially since that Josh Barnett fight that happened. I know it was 10 years ago. You remember Josh was on something. He took Andrei's power, and that was the last Andrei who was knocking people out too.
I forgot about that.
And then he got hurt, and then he was able to recover, Josh Barnett, and then he took him down. Ever since then, Andrei's like, I'm not going to the ground with y'all guys.
I mean, that's his 55th fight. Come on, man, you got to know. But Marcos did what he's supposed to do. That means he'll lose the next one. So he beat Andrei for no reason. But either way, he won.
Especially in the heavyweight division. You know who he's going to fight next? Gelton Almeida.
Well, he said he's going to be ready in January for Brazil, so we'll see. Then we got Jun-yong Park. But like I said, Jun, he don't really have a lot to offer on the feet. It's just to close distance and grab you and just control you. And stylistically, a kickboxer with some pretty good submissions. But this is one of the worst skill sets to have. I'm good standing up. I'm good in jiu-jitsu. But my wrestling is lacking. That's one of the absolute worst.
It kind of sounds like...
Carlos Condit, Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz. I mean, the list goes on.
A couple people here, too, like Joshua Weems and Chase Hooper.
Yeah, it's that style, man. It's that I'm dangerous on the feet. I'm pretty good on the feet. I'm good on the ground if I can take your back.
But it's not a bad loss for Joseph Holmes.
It ain't.
Man.
No.
I put him against Eric Anders in his next fight.
I don't know about
and see,
that
man. Test that striking and see what that striking look like.
I don't know, man, because Eric can start grabbing, and he done lost some close decisions, so it's about time for him to figure it out and start wrestling to get these close decisions. So, June did what he's supposed to do, man. Joseph Holmes probably is in the category with the, Tayfun got a fight coming up, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a lot of middleweights, man. Who's that guy that...
But Tayfun is the light.
Nega Mariano, remember the guy that he beat?
Who?
Nega Mariano, the guy with the knockout power, man. Nega Mariano.
Oh, Nikolai?
Actually, no. Remember the guy he beat last?
Igor? Oh, yeah, the guy who...
But I think Igor got a fight coming up.
He made his debut.
I think Igor got a fight coming up, actually.
Oh, God.
But
I thought you were going to say
Shogun versus
Nikolai.
Igor. Oh, he fighting Shogun. Never mind. But I'm saying somebody,
But they like heavyweights too, man. He's middleweight. Joseph.
They was like heavyweight?
They big, bro.
I thought June was a middleweight.
No, June is a middleweight.
Oh,
Nikolai and them, they like
heavyweights,
heavyweights,
man. He was a
man.
middleweight. Oh, my fault. But
Tayfun fought at middleweight. That's probably why you confused.
Yeah, I got a little. Okay. But there's some favorable matchups for Joseph, man. But Iron Turtle just wasn't one of them. He only got one way to win, and that's the his
he
way.
got a lot of ways to win.
No, he only got really one way to win, and that's just the one way that Joseph can't stop him. And that's let the fight drag on, take the kickboxing. He had a little scrambles, but then ultimately
too, though, man. That's the thing.
I know.
You get tapped out.
I know.
And he's supposed to be a black belt on the ground.
But he's still good, man. It's just
different tiers, man. Like,
and this was too soon.
June
man.
is a different tier.
I think 3 more fights from now, Joseph probably could have won that fight.
Oh yeah.
3 more fights of gradually working your way up there and getting, I'm talking about 3 wins too now. 3 wins and getting to your groove, I feel like that was a winnable fight. But June only got one way to win, man. And then we got somebody, speaking of somebody with one way to win, we had Steve Garcia and Chase Hooper.
And they both got one way to win.
And I'm sorry, man, but I think Chase don't need to be in the UFC. And I like Chase, but I think Chase need 5 to 10 fights outside of the UFC. Let the UFC go for now. You need to go about 8-2 or 9-1.
You know what's weird? Because the featherweight division, I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's kind of like up for grabs, especially like the top 5.
Well, no, they not even, no, because that's, we don't even need to be talking about like that.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, like, when you look ahead, it can build your confidence. Because, like, well, I can compete with anybody outside top 5.
He can't compete with Topuria. He can't compete with Bryce Mitchell.
That's
it ain't
true, man.
none of these people, bro. Even Edson might spin him back kick. He might bring back the Terry Edom knockout. I can see that happening because there ain't nothing Chase can really do to him. Chase lack experience, man. They have given Chase the lowest level of competition that the UFC has to offer, not only in the division, but the actual UFC. You see what I'm saying? Not just featherweights. Dude, Steve Garcia's win in the UFC is against Charlie Ontiveros, who Charlie ain't even UFC caliber, and Charlie almost knocked him out.
What's the guy name who beat CM Punk?
Mike.
No, the other guy who we like, but he got
Mickey
knocked
Gall.
out. He kind of like a worse version of Mickey Gall.
Yes.
He's a worse version of Mickey. And Mickey, things starting to get better for him now.
And Mickey actually tries. Mickey was actually doing pretty good until he messed up last time. But Chase, man, he has that long, lanky body. And people don't respect him. Because look at when times got hard, I don't know if you saw it, he was doing spinning back fists. He got hurt. He dove on the leg. I was like, what are you doing? GSP would never do that. There are fighters who ain't even wrestlers who wouldn't do that. That's crazy. You dove on a leg lock and you got
what's
dropped.
that tall guy? He's a featherweight. He's like 6'3". No, he's not. He got real good boxing.
See, the thing is, he got a body like Carlos Condon and Nate Diaz. But Carlos had that mean streak. Carlos was the natural born killer. You wake up like, I want the knockout. I want the submission. I can submit you, but I want it either way I can get it. Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz, I'm going to put these hands on you. I'm going to sting you. I'm going to make it rough. Then go for the submission. They wasn't out there diving for no leg lock. What kind of crazy stuff is that? Hey, man. Shouts out to Steve Garcia. I don't think...
Sean Woodson.
Yeah.
Take a page out of his book, man. Jab,
but he just don't have that killer... Chase don't have a killer instinct, man.
I know, man.
He just don't. His problem ain't
He's scared to get knocked out.
His problem don't even start with MMA. His problem is personality wise. He don't know how to turn on the switch.
Like he's in that Patty category with look.
Nah.
I'm saying they're not intimidating. They don't look intimidating.
Nah,
but
Patty big. That's a big old boy.
Yeah, he cuts.
That's a big old boy, and he dangerous. If you watch the highlight, he
dangerous.
Patty hit you, man. You might wake up on the moon somewhere, But then we got Cody, Durden, Mota. It's just like I said in the prediction. Short notice fight. If there was more time, Carlos still would have lost. He needed 2 or 3 fights in the UFC to get used to the UFC and go 3-0 or 2-1. Then he would have been ready for a Cody. Cody set him up with the jab, overhand right, 30 seconds to the fight, put him on his butt. Because it ain't that Cody got great hands, but it's just the fact that you fighting a wrestler who, as long as they got a jab and they can mask that overhand right with that jab, you see what I'm saying? Then you don't know if they're going for a takedown or the overhand right. And then it just put him down. Then he just wrestled him. Rinse and repeat, second and third round, wrestled him. The announcers were saying it all night. it was just experience and knowing how to use the octagon to your advantage.
And nobody talks about this, but Cody, he had 5 fights in the UFC before this, but he only won 2 of them. So he needed this win bad.
Yeah, because if you lost to somebody making their debut on short notice, that would have been a super bad one. But it's cool, man, because Carlos will be back on a full training camp, of course. And it's good for Cody. Cody getting lucky, man, because that JP Bays one, that, again, I don't really too much count that one. JP is another one of those guys who I just don't think needed to be there. Not now, not ever, really, but we'll see. I don't want to just
It's weird because the flyweight division
somebody's career gonna
the flyweight division is kind of like open up for new contenders. Because who you got outside the top 3? Outside top 4, you don't have nobody. You have Muhammad, but I can't think of nobody else.
You know the worst part is Cody's biggest strength is that wrestling base, but that ain't gonna work on these Ricky Simones. It ain't gonna work on the Jack Shore.
No, flyweight. They flyweights.
They're flyweights?
He's a big boy, man. Because I looked at him, I was like, hold on.
Who else is in that division?
Cody. No, you got Brandon Moreno and all them, man.
Shut that.
No, I'm saying, but it's only like 3 guys in there. You got Askar.
I got the rankings right here. So that ain't finna, I mean, Davison, Brandon, Pantoja, Kyle Franz, Brandon Rovar. It ain't working on none of these.
He could beat everybody up into Alex Perez.
Maybe, I don't know, man. If a really bad Alex shows
I'm gonna be real. Anybody outside of Askar, he has a chance.
Tim Elliott. You got Makayev. You got even the Tibetan Eagle. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest, man.
Tyson Nam. I mean, well, he might.
Oh yeah, Tyson can knock something out though.
I don't know, man. Malcolm. I mean, he might be able to beat Malcolm, but good win for Cody, man. You know, live to fight another day. But man, eventually you're gonna have to fight somebody. And I know that his fault did. Who was he supposed to fight? Clayson? Yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been a tough fight.
I think Clayson was undefeated in the UFC, man, because Clayson fought against.
No, he lost to CJ versus.
No, but I think he won that fight.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, man,
because he took that fight on short notice. Man. He took it on short notice.
The guy was missing punches and stuff, bro. You get this guy a win, he getting taken down. He did nothing. The only thing he did was made it close.
Speaking of taking down
and taking out,
man, Joshua, man, he is from Jackson, Mississippi, so I'm definitely wanting to see him back again in the UFC. But he took a tough fight on Christian Rodriguez. Joshua was actually doing his thing on the stand-up. He got a takedown. It just while they was getting up, Christian created a scramble, locked in the anaconda choke. By the time Joshua realized he was in the anaconda choke trying to fight it, it was too late, man. And Christian was real smooth with it too, man. It was too late, man. Tough loss, man, but...
You think he's ready for the UFC?
You know what? I'm starting to have a thing now. I don't believe in fighters losing their debut and then rushing back into the UFC again, because you know who else got a bunch of losses? Because they lost a short notice debut and then they start getting a string of bad fights. What's the guy named Darren Weeks? Boy, they gotta be the worst. Brian Barberena, who turned around and he knocked out Robbie on the same card that...
But I think he beat Brian, though.
I think he low-key beat Brian. That's the funny thing. I think he low-key beat him.
I think Brian thought, because after the fight, Brian was like, I lost.
It low-key looked like he might have won that fight. Low-key.
Ian Gary.
Then he had Ian Gary, which he started winning in the 3rd round when it was too late.
I forgot who he fought.
And then he fought somebody that they gave him somebody he was supposed to beat, and then he just didn't pull the trigger. And I'm like, man, now you got 3 losses back to back.
It's gonna hurt your confidence.
And I'm thinking this: if I'm Joshua Weems, I know you want the UFC, man. Don't necessarily take another fight, because where did this take place? 135. Thing is, go back to where you was fighting and keep winning and get your record back up. Does that make sense? Don't try to say, okay, I'm 10-3 now. Let me get another. Let me try to get it back since I took the last one.
I understand what you're saying, man, but when you step foot in the UFC, it's kind of like going to the NFL or the NBA. But it's kind of like once you're there, you want to stay there.
But then a 1 calendar year, you back on the regional scene anyway, because you got cut from the UFC for losing.
It's easy to say that when you're not a fighter, man.
I know, but look at history, dude. A lot of times people don't bounce back from those losses, especially those short notice fights, because it's hard to win a fight on a full camp.
I think the issue is when you Darren Weeks and you taking tough fight after tough fight after you made your debut. Okay, that's horrible. But if you could take an easier fight after you lose your debut.
But look at a lot of these guys were coming off of losses that they took fights on short notice to begin with, and they end up getting another tough matchup in the next fight. So it's like, man, I'm just throwing something out there, man. I'm not saying I got it figured out, but I'm just saying, how come nobody does that? How come nobody said, you know what, my goal was to win the regional title anyway. I took a fight on short notice with the UFC just because, but I'm going to go back and get about 5 more wins somewhere else.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because now what happens is you fall to 10-3. Then you lose your next 2, because we see this happen every week.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you 10-5 and you cut from the UFC. Now you back on the regional scene anyway.
Yeah.
Versus let me go win 5 in a row and be 15-3, and now I've improved my striking. I've improved my wrestling.
I think it depends on the level, because with Joshua, he's not there yet, man.
But I'm talking about in general.
Yeah. But I was saying, like, somebody like him, he definitely needs to go and kind of fight local fights and get his record back up,
especially when there's areas of your game that you know are not allowing you to be complete yet. Because whatever hole you got exposed here, it only gets worse. Christian was coming off of a loss on a short notice fight, you know?
Yeah.
So imagine you fighting somebody who already established and they've been around and they got 3 or 4 wins in the UFC already.
What about somebody like Josh, though? Josh Fremd? Because he lost his first fight, man. It's like, dude, what do you do? I think he's good enough to be in the UFC.
But now that's his second fight in a row that he lost in the UFC. Now, you see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. And the crazy part is he got a loss to Gregory Rodriguez right here, which he kind of making his way up through the rankings. But you see what I'm saying? Short notice loss. Now all of a sudden you got a second fight that you took and now you lost that one. So now you on your third strike versus you should have went back. I'm just saying, now you 9-4 versus instead of taking the Tresean Gore fight, I would say, hey, that first fight against Anthony, I was just doing y'all a solid so that whenever it's time for me to come back, when I feel like I'm ready, remember I did you this solid. And then you see what I'm saying? Now instead of me having to go through the contender, instead of me having to go through these things, I can get my shot the right way. That's not on short notice with a full training camp. But I got 5-6 more wins under my belt. Because now, more than likely, he gonna lose that third one, man. And I hate to say that, but because if he fought at middleweight, that means he probably might be fighting Phil Hawes next. Because a lot of times they match people up who've been on the same card. You know what I'm saying? And we see that, man.
Phil ain't fighting.
Oh, no, you know who he gonna fight? Look on there.
Joseph.
Yep. And you gonna lose that one. And now that's your 3 in a row. Tic-tac-toe 3 in a row.
That's coming off a submission loss too, man.
I don't like to see that, man. I think it just gives you a bad... I know you want to take the opportunity. If it go your way, I would say keep going. If it don't go your way, say, hey, let me just go get my other fights. But just, I'm going to cash in my golden ticket, my Willy Wonka ticket when I'm ready. You see what I'm saying? But don't keep pushing it, man. History has proven... How many times have we seen this? This ain't like I'm just making this up, man. We've seen this so many times. But... overall, cool card. It was cool to be back. You know, we love the fights. But at the same time, the injuries and stuff, I hope we don't get no more injuries for the rest of the year, man. Because wouldn't that suck if Israel or somebody got injured?
That's one fight that does not need any injuries.
Oh,
imagine that. Even I don't want to see injury in the fight.
Who knows, man? But hopefully not. But hopefully Calvin can recover fast, man. Don't rush it. And Arnold more than likely fighting for an interim belt, or he'll be fighting for whoever wins the interim belt. He'll be in a fight to where, you know, he'll be the number 1 contender if he can win that one. So hey, 1 or 2 fights away from the title.
Would it be crazy if he become champion when it's all said and done?
I wouldn't doubt. I mean, I don't know, man. We got to make a video about a tournament, man, for all the weight classes. So we'll see.
Yeah.